joined today to celebrate our Eagle Scouts. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Kristen Laird, and I'm Josh's proud mom. I often quip that Joshua was born to be a scout. What I mean by that is when he was very young, he watched his older brother Noah go off to scout meetings, and he stood there and cried that he couldn't go yet. He just couldn't wait to be a scout. And of course, Joshua was all in from the moment he could be a Tiger Scout. He embraced the scout experiences and relished all of them, whether it was camping in all sorts of weather, including the freeze-outs, selling popcorn and Christmas trees, interviewing Representative Gentile for the Citizenship and Community Merit Badge, facilitating a Court of Honor for the Communication Merit Badge, such as our MC Charlie is doing today, canoeing 50 miles along the Allagash River, sailing in the Florida Keys at sea base, and so on. He has embraced and loved all of it. And looking at the Scout Oath in the Scout Law, it's easy to see how Joshua encompasses these directives. Well, all 12 qualities are important. We heard about them earlier. I will highlight helpfulness in this speech. Service to others is an important beacon for Joshua. He is kind. He is sensitive to people's needs. He notices when they need help, and almost always will volunteer to pitch in. His Nana will laugh and tell me, oh, Joshua came in when he goes to visit her and asked me right away if there was anything I needed him to do. She will take him up on his offers and let him do some chores. And sometimes she even saves tasks for him when she knows he will be visiting. His grand attended the Beacon of Hope Food Pantry with him on Friday and learned how much the adult volunteers enjoy having Josh there to help, and how they have missed him these past few months when he's had other responsibilities pop up. Specifically with the Scouts, he's always willing to participate in frequent service projects, whether it's raking leaves for the elderly, striking the vendor canopies at the craft fair for the Metro West Humane Society, sorting styrofoam at the Sudbury Department of Public Works, picking up garbage to keep Sudbury beautiful, and of course, donating his time to the Life Scouts during their Eagle service projects. And an interesting thing to note, which I think is really noteworthy, if I mention to him that there is a service activity going on, he'll say to sign him up, and then, almost as an afterthought, he'll ask, what is it? What am I going to be doing? He's not particularly selective with the help he'll offer, which underscores the fact that serving others is a core personality trait of Josh's. One service organization where he's devoted much of his time in the past 2 years has been the Beacon of Hope Food Pantry down the street from us in Framingham. What started out as a requirement for the Citizenship and Community Merit Badge 2 years ago has continued as a standing engagement that he enjoys when time permits. He has made connections there with the people he sees every other week. He sometimes will make chocolate chip cookies to send home with the people who are using the pantry services. Sometimes people bring things for him to take home. It's obvious that this is a place where he is an integral member and one that is missed when he can't attend. Joshua's Eagle Service Project, collecting over 3,400 books for distribution to Framingham's homeless children throughout the Framingham Public Schools, highlighted additional qualities of the Scout Oath and Law. Blindly contacting Dr. Tremblay, Superintendent of Framingham Public Schools, to propose the project required bravery that some 15-year-olds might not have possessed. Approaching strangers to request book donations required more bravery, courtesy, as well as gratitude. Retrieving said donations required physical strength. Organizing, sorting, and inventorying them required mental awareness. Likewise, overseeing some of you, the volunteers who helped with the sorting and the inventory creation required patience and cheerfulness and a lot of pizza to slog through what seemed like never-ending boxes of books that lived in our dining room and our family room and his away at college siblings' bedroom for a few months. Presenting the project to a crowded group of strangers at the Framingham School Committee meeting for approval and acceptance of the books required yet more bravery. Suffice to say, the project allowed Joshua to shine while also satisfying that ever-present desire to help and serve others. I'll close by saying that Joshua embodies the Scout Oath and Law in his daily life. The chosen examples easily exemplify this. Being a Scout and all that entails is truly ingrained in his persona. As an Eagle Scout, I trust that he will continue to make positive contributions wherever life takes him. When I mentioned earlier that he was born to be a Scout, I never doubted that we'd see this day of his Eagle Court of Honor. And And if you know him, you know this isn't hyperbole. Congratulations, Josh. We're so proud of you. We love you.
I would now like to introduce
Just a second, Josh, sorry. Hi, my name is Jim Bean. I am Josh's original Cubmaster and den leader, but that was a long time ago. But it was a good time. I was trying to think when you asked me, and your dad warned me, you were going to ask me to do this. I'm like, oh yeah, what was that? What were we doing back then? It seems like such a long time ago, but I first met you because your brother was in the pack, and you were that younger brother that was ready to go. You weren't old enough yet, but once you showed up, one of the first things that we would have done, I would do this with all the tiger groups, is we'd go for a quick hike over at Maycomber Woods in Framingham. It's a very, very quick walk, easy to do in September, given the lighting, we'd be about 6 o'clock at night. So we could finish before it got too dark, and every year I would take the one wrong turn and we'd get lost and we'd come back and it was dark. Just a little bit. You were great. Now, when you have Tiger Scouts, maybe not everybody can read as well as everybody else, so you don't want to call that out. So we would do a bit of a scavenger hunt. I would take a paper plate, and I would mark it, A through Z or 1 through 10, and we'd have little tabs, and there'd be like just a little key in the middle. So as we saw different things, the boys could fold over the tabs as they completed their scavenger hunt. Now, I always liked being in Scouts as a leader. I mean, I liked it too as a teenager, but I seem to have, this is about you, but I'm going to talk about me for a second. I seem to have an affinity for what young kids would be interested in. So for this scavenger hunt, it would be a pine tree, a metal bridge, another person walking, and then perhaps like a dog, and then a dog going to the bathroom. Because kids were into that. So I can't remember if it was your group specifically, but there was a time, one of these hikes, where we're going through the different tabs, and we had just about finished everything, and we finally see the dog. Oh, okay, we got the dog. And I'm thinking, oh, that's too bad we didn't get the last one. And then the dog started to do its business. And like, oh, Mr. Bean, look, we're gonna get all of them. Like, great. I do remember something your mother said, that, and also what Matthew said too about your fellow Eagle Scout, about being enthusiastic. And I remember that about you. And you were and you probably still are, the sweetest kid. Oh my God. So happy to be there. You were in it to win it. And as a scout leader, dude, we love that. We love that kind of kid. Like, yes, bring it. Now, the one other specific memory I have of you, and it's a good one, because you answered a question I had never considered asking. We had done I guess we must have been a Knobscot. We were doing some kind of beginning of the year kickoff thing, or maybe it was involved with popcorn or something. And we had a small fire, in the little fire. And you asked, oh, can I help put it out? I'm like, well, sure, that's totally fine. Now, with the bucket of water I had, I was going to just drizzle that water on, and you poured all of it once, which I had never considered how that would then splash up on all of us. But if you put the fire out, you were totally right. The fire's out. But I realized in summation that enthusiasm and that cheerfulness as a little kid becomes compassion and empathy and drive. And don't lose any of that. You gotta go on, brother. Yeah. So come on, let's charge it off. Now, would you like the phrases a little shorter? Sir. Scout sign, please. Repeat after me. I, Joshua Laird,
I, Joshua Laird,
promise to assume the responsibilities
promise to assume the responsibilities
of an Eagle Scout,
of an Eagle Scout,
to lead by good example,
to lead by good example,
to abide by the principles
to abide by the principles
of the Scout oath, law,
of the Scout oath, law,
motto, and slogan,
motto, and slogan,
to strive to help other people at all times,
to strive to help other people at all times,
even when it involves personal sacrifices,
even when it involves personal sacrifices,
and to love and care for the outdoors.
and to love and care for the outdoors.
I recognize that by this promise
I recognize that by this promise,
and my acceptance of the rank of Eagle Scout,
and by the acceptance of the rank of Eagle Scout,
I am committing to live
I am committing to live
by a high moral standard for the rest of my life.
by a high moral standard for the rest of my life.
And I ask that my community
And I ask that my community
provide me with ongoing support
provide me with ongoing support
so that I can best live up to my commitments.
so I can best live up to my commitment.
Congratulations.